Hey guys, Mountain Music Exchange here. I'm Clay.
And I'm Jason.
And today we're going to talk a little bit on the record about the AC/DC album, Who Made Who. This album is a little bit special to me. As far as playing guitar and being interested in that sort of thing, this album is the one that got me started particularly. I was probably 11 years old. I was only listening to what was being played around me at the time, like on the radio. This is kind of the first album I felt like I discovered. A buddy of mine at school had it, and he sold it to me for a few bucks. It was on tape.
Wow.
Yeah. And I wish I would have brought it. I actually still have that same tape that he sold me when I was, 11. Mm-hmm. And I still have it. And every now and then I'll still throw it on if I can find a tape player laying around, But it's a really cool album. I like it a lot, man. It's sort of like a greatest hits, but not really a greatest hits,
It is. You had the 3 new cuts on there. You had Who Made Who and the 2 instrumentals. Harkens back to my junior high years. I think I was in 6th grade when that one came out. Some of the songs, the Fly on the Wall songs, that was the first time I'd heard those, just the Gibson SG tone and all that Angus is known for. Great album. It's kind of like a greatest hits, as you said, but I mean, with the Fly on the Wall songs and Deep Cut from Bon Scott kind of right on there.
I remember being so confused when I heard Right On, and it was on this album, because it was the first AC/DC album I'd really listened to, so like I thought You Shook Me All Night Long came from this album. And sometimes when they played the music video, they had it listed as Who Made Who, too.
Yeah.
So I thought like Hell's Bells came from this album.
Yeah.
And it didn't. But, when I heard Right On, I was like, who is singing on that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this is my first introduction to AC/DC, so I had absolutely no clue who Bon Scott was at the time. The only thing I knew was like Brian Johnson era, Back in Black and Forward, So I was real confused, but it's an awesome track. I mean, every song on here is really a good driving song,
It is, and that was actually the soundtrack to the Stephen King movie, right? The Maximum Overdrive.
Yes, the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of barely listed down here at the bottom.
They say it on the front there, too.
Oh, yeah. On some of the labeling on some copies, I don't know if every copy has that or not, but yeah, it's a soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive.
It really, and the soundtrack to Many Summers, too.
If there was ever a redeeming quality about that movie, it's this album.
Exactly.
So that movie will always kind of have a place in my heart, if not just for this album.
Oh yeah.
And in AC/DC's gear, I know we talked about last week with Kiss, on the last video that we posted on the last On the Record, that it was just like a Les Paul into like just a cranked Marshall, and there's really not much difference here as far as AC/DC tone goes. The only difference is like in the studio production quality, like they'll add reverb to the drums or add reverb to the vocals or something like that, but it's not, it's AC/DC through and through still, even if it doesn't sound quite as pure as somebody would want AC/DC to sound, but
right.
It's a killer album, man. Especially you've got like Shake Your Foundations is cool, Sink the Pink is cool, DT's cool. I mean, there's not a song on here that I don't think is cool because I had it on tape, so I just listened to it all the way through because for a minute it was the only tape I had that I actually wanted.
Right.
And I remember when I was a kid, all I had was, again, if you watch the last video, it was just a black Strat-style Yamaha through a black Strat-style Yamaha amp. I think by this point, though, that I'd actually started listening to this album and getting into it, I bought a keyboard amp off of my brother. It was like a PVKB 100 or something, right?
Wow.
I still have it. It doesn't work. And basically, I should haul it off for scrap or something. But I still have it.
Oh, man.
I still have the amp. And I would plug, like, I think at the time I had like a death metal pedal or some wild distortion pedal, maybe one of those Zoom multi-effects for a while too, that I plugged into that. And that was my way of trying to get on the slimmest possible budget, like that AC/DC sound.
Exactly.
But I mean, of course, Gibson SG, straight into a Marshall. And if you're talking about Malcolm, you know, you had the Gretsch Jet, which
Yes,
he
sir.
was killing. They're actually getting ready to reissue that guitar as of the filming of this video, and it's actually that guitar that's on the back. They're going to reissue the same one that he's got on the back here. So naturally, I'm kind of a nerd for that guitar because you know, I've seen the back of this album a lot. You know, so
Right.
but it's a really cool setup, man. Like I said, though, you can play AC/DC without having to have that exact gear. I mean,
You can.
You can just crank whatever guitar you've got through whatever amp you've got. If you need a distortion pedal, do that. But you know, it's just raw, dirty rock and roll, and you can get that
Exactly.
without going crazy over budget. This, you know, especially if you're starting to play guitar or something like that. I mean, it's super easy to get
It really
where you're
is.
going. I mean, it's once you start hearing stuff that you can't unhear, you kind of get a little like, I know I get a little like gear snobby about it, but at the end of the day, you want to play rock and roll, just plug up an amp, crank it
up,
and
man.
get
Crank
everything
it
you
up.
can out of it. But this has been another On the Record. We appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the Who Made Who album. Check out the album, by the way. And again, make sure, like we mentioned last weekend, in the comments section below, post some albums that have inspired you. Post some gear, like the first gear that you had that you really liked, or not even that you really liked, just what you had to work with that made you play the way that you play today, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
But this has been On the Record. I'm Clay,
And I'm Jason.
and you guys have a good one. Thanks.
Thank you.